You're watching Drake Queen Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drake Queen Gaming. As some of you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Mice Tea. So yeah, before we jump into it, just wanted to let y'all know that our Patreon is out for as little as $5. Y'all can help support the channel, get some awesome rewards like permanent access to our community Discord server and full access to upcoming Not Safe for Work videos. All that for as little as $5, y'all. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right back in. Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Alrighty. Nothing's happened yet, so I have to keep up the banter for now. Maybe I'll look up how best to clip your wings. Keep you grounded down here with me where you belong. Well, we're already involved in scissors. Damn, who knew you were so... Who knew you were so mathophysic? Gavin shakes his head and looks down in confusion. Oh, I thought you learned how to talk with a beak at this point. Sounds like my poor little chick is still having some trouble. I'll have to train him up right. A muted panic fills his eyes. I don't think I'm growing a beak this time. His lips pull tight across his teeth in a grimace, which allows me to see the cause of his speech impediment. Two white, gleaming incisors jut down from his upper jaw. What's going on? I don't know. Are you turning into a mouse too? Did the tea people say anything about this? No, I don't think so. I noticed movement near his ears and watched them grow rounder and yell out larger. It's all about to confirm my suspicion. He's turning into a fellow mouse when it veers in a different direction. His ears stop short of being the wide, thin saucers I currently sport, and instead level out into a smaller, stubbier, and furrier form. The closest thing I can compare them to are bear's ears, but that doesn't explain the teeth. Oh my god, is he gonna be a beaver? That's when they provide another clue. Gavin's teeth grow even larger, bulking out to sizes that far outmatch my own. They're far more square as well and have a subtle chisel shape to them. He'd look horribly silly if I wasn't concerned for him. Did you do anything to the tea? He blanches as a revelation hits him. Oh, what? I thought I might try and put in something sweet in the tea, since the task is usually kind of severe. Jesus Christ. What did you put in it? Gavin's anxiety is immediately overtaken by embarrassment. Maple syrup. To punctuate the revelation, a broad, flat, scaled tail emerges from his waistband. It grows longer and wider at the rate of an inch per second, which means it only takes about 12 seconds for it to reach its full length. Gavin looks behind himself at his newly grown paddle and, lacking anything else to do, gives it a few feeble flaps up and down. He turns back to me. So! Oh my gosh, do you know what this means? Not really. You can change what the tea turns you into. We could add a whole bunch of other things to it and turn it into whatever. You could even do it when we start selling the tea. Like, you could add stuff to turn people into lions or horses or whatever they wanted. Gavin turns on a dime the moment he realizes we can use this to our advantage. Wait, yeah, you're right. I bet I can figure out a bunch of different animals if I follow the same logic of what made me a beaver. Like, maybe a punk could work instead of a cultural connotation, like lion grass or something. Although I turn back, I can start looking at how it works. Before he gets too carried away, he remembers the intended schedule of the evening and turns sheepish. Oh, I'm sorry, it kind of ruined our plan for the evening. I squint at his new form to take in the whole effect. Nope, I can work with this. Day 40. Flight. There's apparently another game called Moth Tea, which is kind of like the same thing. Alright. Gavin parks Julie's van in the trailhead parking lot, and the two of us climb out. There are two cars next to us. An empty lot would be too much for ask for, but their drivers are probably hiking the trail in the opposite direction we're heading. It's the location Gavin has done most of his practicing so far. We're not aware of anyone noticing, let alone complaining about his training, so we figure it's fine if I tag along. His last couple times he's worn a backpack stuffed with books and clothes to approximate my weight. Before we drove here, I climbed inside while he wore it. He claimed it felt about the same. It's really beautiful out here. Yeah, I don't get the chance to come out here often. Glad Julie let us borrow her van. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I went for a hike or something. How often do you go on hikes before? I've done at least one, I just can't remember when it was. Well, you're not gonna have to do one today. The hill's not too far away. He pulls his backpack on and drinks the tea he brought from home. Second nail, water time. After you. Gavin might have misjudged how much my size affects distances. This could qualify as a hike, but I'm grateful to get outside and stretch my legs. I still haven't been in the wilderness as a mouse, and the scents that blow through the trees are amazing. I close my eyes to better savor them. I have it on instant, like... Oh yeah, text speed is like crazy. Okay. Okay. That'll do. Each tree has its own character, from the sappy sweet firs to the dry woody oaks, and make sure to take it all in for what is likely the last time. Every so often I'll open my eyes and see Gavin further along in his transformation. He's ditched his sandals to walk along the trail on his talons. He looks much more comfortable here than on any surface I've ever seen him on. I've ever seen him walk on as a falcon. A few minutes later, we're at the crest of a hill. This is the place. I'm still feeling up for it. It's now or never. I'm only going to get bigger. I even skipped my meditation session this morning in favor of doing it once we get back. He crouches down and I hop up onto his shoulders and back into his backpack. I zip myself in at the waist and hold tight to the straps. Okay, I'm in. Great. So there's a lot of what feels like falling at the beginning, so don't worry too much about that. Winds get pretty loud up there, so I wouldn't count on being able to talk much. Tap my left shoulder to slow things down, and tap it a lot if you need to land. Tap my right if you want to turn things up. Got it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. I can picture his expression even from behind. I know I will. He nods and loosens up his wings. Excuse me. Here goes. He takes a few hopping steps down the hill before leaping forward and beating his wings furiously. After years of airplanes, this takeoff feels much too quick. It seems impossible to get airborne with so little buildup, but before I know it, I feel that falling sensation Gavin mentioned. My stomach shoots up into my chest and my throat tightens. I have to stop myself from rapping on his left shoulder in panic. If I trusted him any less, I don't think I could stop myself. But after a few more flaps of his wings, I feel the sensation of lift as Gavin soars up into the sky. Ooh. Damn, girl, you thick. I'm thankful for my claws that I can use to dig into the straps of Gavin's backpack. For a moment, we're about level with the pines at the bottom of the hill, but soon Gavin lifts us far above the treetops. Farther and farther, the landscape recedes below us until I can see the texture of the forest spread out like a textile underneath. At first, I can only hold on as tight as I can and hope my heart keeps beating. Gavin was right about the wind, and I feel it whip against my ears and sweep my hair back. But Gavin maintains an even altitude and glides for long stretches between each beat of his wings. I find myself relaxing, yet I still maintain a firm grip on the straps. What's more is I found myself being thrilled. I turn my eyes from side to side, taking in as much of the landscape as I can. Gavin banks to the side, and I see a road we took in the forest and highway farther back. When he beats his wings to gain a few feet of elevation, I even see New Greenshire off in the far distance. My gosh, we drove more than an hour to get out here! How far up are we? At first I think I've asked the question in fear. Once I give it a moment, I realize I did so out of exhilaration. I watch the faint city skyline drive past me as Gavin completes a full circle. It's then that I notice Gavin hasn't flapped his wings for some time, yet we haven't lost a bit of altitude. In fact, we might even be a little higher. Wait a second, how is he doing that? Is he... The explanation hits me, and I lean over to test his ability to hear me. Are you riding a thermal right now? He simply nods and banks again to gain a bit more height by tilting his wings. For the first time, the full significance of what's happening dawns on me. Holy crap, my boyfriend can fly! He really taught himself how to fly! Oh god, that's cute. The amazement I should have been feeling this whole time catches up to me and my heart leaps. I take the time to notice the mechanics of Gavin's motions, how subtly he shifts the angle and spread of his wings to affect his trajectory, how powerful each stroke is. So you know. Water time? I'm aware of how much tea can instill new instincts, but the feat of flying is still awe-inspiring. It makes me want to congratulate him, to thank him for taking his days off to train so we could do this before I was too big to ride. But I'll have to wait until we're on the ground. Instead, I barely tell him a simpler truth. It's beautiful! He nods again, and I see a smile curl the edge of his beak. Taking my encouragement to heart, he starts taking tighter turns and swooping down for short dips. I doubt he hears the gleeful giggling his acrobatics elicit from me, but I can tell he's enjoying himself either way. During one long, shallow dive, I even let go of the straps for half a second and hold my arms out in imitation of Gavin. They're back to clutching the straps immediately, but it does give me the courage to try something. After Gavin completes a figure 8 and levels out to coast for a while, I take my paws off the strap and give Gavin a few vigorous taps on his right shoulder. Instead of nodding, he gives a few strong beats of his wings in response, and then we fall. Gavin tucks his wings in tight and sticks his neck out, turning himself into an arrow pointed at the ground. I struggle to hold on as the wind streaks the fur on my face. I can barely keep my eyes open to see the trees turn from indistinct smears of green to individual forms heading straight toward us. It's exhilarating. Ah! Before we were impaled on the tops of the trees, Gavin pulls up and we shoot back into the sky. The G-forces almost shove me down into the backpack. I whoop in excitement as Gavin looks back and smiles. With renewed vigor, he flaps his wings to climb up and attempt another roller coaster dive. I hope he has the energy for a bunch more. Day 66, good lord. Home at last. Oh wow, yep. She's a full-size mouse girlfriend now. I sit up from the dining table, my tail sliding against a little crook formed by the seat in the back post. Gavin collects the plates from the table to put in the sink. It's our first time using my flatware since we brought them to the apartment during the move last week. Since I was finally tall enough to be of use, we figured it was the right time to move me out of my old place. The lease runs out tomorrow, so it was perfect timing. A few boxes are still shoved in corners, and we're still figuring out whose wall art will go where. But honestly, I don't have too much stuff, and when it came to tea accoutrement, we just took the second best of every item and put it in the back room at Tea Friends to use for breaks. The mug shelf is definitely overflowing, though. Thanks for the breakfast. Looks like you enjoyed it. Always. I reach up to brush a lock of hair from my face and bump into my glasses. I'm still getting used to them again. I thought we should have strawberries, so it might be your last day. I noticed. That was very thoughtful of you. He's almost used to accepting compliments at this point. I thought they might not taste as good once you're not a mouse, so I figured we should give you one last hurrah. My smile quivers a little. They're pretty close to tasting normal at this point. It's actually something that's kind of waned as I've recovered. Wait, really? Yeah, I did think it was worth mentioning with everything else going on, but they've been getting a little less tasty as I get bigger. I mean, I still really like them anyway. They're still better than they were as a human, and I've enjoyed when you served them to me for breakfast. But yeah, I don't think they'll ever taste quite as good as that first week. I attempt to recover my smile. Gavin does his best to help lift it. Glad we got that last little bit then. Yeah, me too. He dusts his hands off. So, you wanna be wearing that for this last session? Yeah, it seems like the most comfortable option. Plus, it might fit even better once I'm finished. I think this will be the first time I'll actually shrink after some meditation. Even after months of dating, Gavin's still a little nervous talking about my body. Oh, yeah, I guess that might happen. I grin as I narrow my eyes at him. Might? Were you hoping I'd keep the boobs and hips once I lose all the fur? Well, I don't know what part of this whole process that's part of, so... You already got to grope them along with my tail and ears for the last time last night. Are you gonna be greedy and ask me to keep them as well? He's regressed to full-on blushing. Hey, they do look good on you. Well, maybe I can try and stop one step back from my old body, at least for a couple days. I deprived you of all this fur, after all. Gavin's jaw tightens as his brow furrows. So, you know, water time. Man, we're really, launching into the days here, aren't we? Alright. You're really not depriving me. After all this time and how much we've got to do, you know, I stop him with a warm smile. You know I'm just teasing you. I know you love me just as much without all these extra parts. Really. He looks fully relieved at last. Oh yeah, definitely. So you want to do it the usual way? Yeah, I figured we shouldn't mess with what's worked so far. Do you want to watch this time? I can tell the idea tempts him. No, I think it's probably best to keep things normal. It'll be a nice treat to come out of my bedroom and see you all finished. Okay, let's do that. I walk over and wrap my arms around him, pressing myself as hard as I can against his strong, solid body. I've only been able to wrap my arms around him for a week or so, and I still can't get enough of the warmth and security it makes me feel. He wraps his own arms around me, and I sigh in comfort at his gentle embrace. His fingers find their way into my fur, and I feel the slightest strokes as he runs his fingers between the strands. I love you, Gavin. I love you too, Margaret. My tail twists around to wrap around his ankle as if I want to hug him as much as this body will allow. After what feels like forever and yet not enough time, we let go and step back. See you soon, love. He turns and heads back to his room and shuts the door behind him. I stand there for a moment. Should I do something if this is my last time? Nope. We let him get all that out of his system last night. And took those pictures. Yeah, I'm all set. I shake my arms to reset my mind. Before I begin, I pull up the cache of photos I've been keeping around the last month or so to help me visualize my body. It's been so long since I inhabited it that it's good to remind myself of what I looked like. I scroll through the thumbnails of the freckled, curly-haired girl I lived as until a couple months ago. I take a moment to focus on new features. That sure was my nose, all right. I'll be glad to have it back. Normally, looking at a bunch of photos of myself would be cause for annoyance, but once we decided it would be good visualization practice, Gavin helped me overcome the impulse. I'd sit on his lap and we'd scroll through our phones, and he'd point out the little features or expressions he liked. At the end of the process, I had a couple dozen photos I actually enjoyed looking at. After taking off a few parts to focus on and smiling warmly at Gavin's recollections of them, I stashed the phone away. I take a deep breath through the snout I'm hoping to shed and breathe out through my mouth. Okay, let's do it. I fold my hands in front of me and focus on my breathing. Each inhale and exhale is measured, regulated. I extend each out to a sustained but comfortable length. Alright, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there before she transforms fully back. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!